The sky was a brilliant, unforgiving blue, and far below, the frozen mountains of North Korea stretched into the haze. Inside his F-86 Sabre, the American pilot scanned the emptiness, alone, his radio dead, cut off from his formation. A moment ago, he'd been part of a four-ship sweep through MiG Alley. Now, he was a solitary speck of silver in hostile airspace. Then, he saw them, 7 MiG-15s, glinting high above, closing fast. These weren't North Korean rookies but seasoned Soviet airmen. Ghosts, in a secret war, tasked with shooting down Americans. The odds, 7-1. No backup. No one knew he was in trouble. The MiGs began to maneuver, circling like wolves, setting up for the kill. He had seconds to decide. Run and be caught. Or turn and fight. Running meant certain death. Fighting was a slim chance. He gripped the stick, sweat slick on his glove, and prepared to face the impossible. The world shrank to the size of his canopy. The roar of his engine was all he heard. The MiG's silver shapes grew larger, their cannons ready. This was the ultimate test. One man, one machine, against overwhelming force. In MiG Alley, politics and strategy vanished. Only survival mattered. He was about to fly into the fight of his life, a battle that would become a legend. The 7 MiGs began their descent. The American pilot pushed his throttle forward, ready to meet them head-on. He knew their tactics: surround, box in, destroy. But he also knew his Sabre's strengths, and his own. He braced for the attack, heart pounding, every sense razor sharp. Alone in the sky, he was determined not to go down without a fight. The battle for survival was about to begin. MiG Alley was the epicenter of the Korean Air War, a narrow corridor in northwestern North Korea, bordered by the Yalu River. American bombers had to cross this gauntlet, and Soviet MiG-15s rose from hidden bases in Manchuria to stop them. Every day, F-86 Sabres swept the alley, hunting MiGs in a deadly game of cat and mouse. The MiGs had the advantage: sanctuary in China, superior altitude, and the ability to strike and vanish. American pilots were forbidden to pursue across the Yalu, forced to fight with one hand tied. Being shot down here meant capture, brutal interrogation, and little hope of rescue. Each mission was a gamble with death. For the U.S. Air Force, control of MiG Alley was vital. Without it, the war effort would falter. The Sabre pilots were the thin line holding back the Soviet tide. In this crucible, our lone pilot now faced 7 of the enemy's best. His struggle was a microcosm of the larger battle for the sky. Officially, the Korean War was between North and South, but in the shadows, the Soviet Union played a deadly hand. Soviet pilots, veterans of World War II, flew MiG-15s, their planes disguised with North Korean or Chinese markings. They spoke Korean on the radio, but in the heat of battle, Russian slipped out. A secret the Americans quickly learned. The world couldn't know. A direct clash between US and Soviet pilots risked global war. Every dogfight in MiG Alley was a potential flashpoint. The Sabre pilots knew who they were up against. This was no proxy fight, but a direct Cold War confrontation. Each victory was a blow against the Soviet Union itself. The stakes were enormous, the risks even greater. Our lone pilot, facing 7 Soviet aces, was on the front line of this hidden war. The air war in Korea was a duel between 2 legends, the F-86 Sabre and the MiG-15. The MiG-15 soared higher, climbed faster, and packed heavy cannons, deadly in a single pass. But its guns were hard to aim, and it struggled in tight, turning fights. The Sabre was agile, stable in a dive, and could outturn the MiG at most speeds. Its 6 machine guns fired fast and true, favoring accuracy over brute force. MiG pilots tried to lure Sabres into vertical fights. Sabre pilots dragged MiGs into turning battles. Success depended on forcing the fight into your aircraft's strengths. Outnumbered 7-1, the American pilot knew he couldn't outclimb them. His only hope: use the Sabres' agility to break their formation. The tactical chess match was about to begin. The mission began like any other, 4 Sabres sweeping north, bait for MiGs. Then, a silent radio. The pilot was cut off, flying blind, unable to communicate. He tried to stay in formation, but a turn and a glare from the sun left him alone. Deep in enemy territory, he was a perfect target. High above, 7 MiGs spotted him, guided by radar from China. They had altitude, numbers, and surprise. The Soviet leader signaled, and the MiGs began a sweeping descent, aiming to surround and destroy. The American pilot saw the glint of their fuselages, 7 shapes closing in. His stomach dropped. This was a classic MiG ambush. No time to think, only react. Training took over. Running meant death. Diving made him an easy target. His only chance was to do the one thing they wouldn't expect. He prepared to turn into the attack, betting everything on surprise. The trap was set, but he refused to play the victim. Facing annihilation, the pilot made a desperate choice. He turned toward the enemy. He pulled back hard, climbing straight into the path of the 7 diving MiGs. It was audacious, a single saber charging a pack of wolves. The MiGs expected him to run. Instead, he forced them to react. At a combined speed of over 1,000 miles per hour, a head-on collision was a real threat. The MiG formation unraveled as pilots swerved to avoid disaster. In seconds, their coordinated attack dissolved into chaos. The Americans' bold move shattered their cohesion, scattering the MiGs across the sky. For a brief moment, he was no longer just prey. He'd survived the first pass, but now faced 7 confused, angry adversaries. Tracers sliced past his canopy. The sky became a maelstrom of jets and gunfire. He'd bought himself precious seconds. Now, it was a swirling dogfight, 7-1. Survival would demand every ounce of skill he had. The pilot twisted and turned, forcing the MiGs into a horizontal fight, where the saber excelled. G-forces pressed him down, blood draining from his head, as MiGs flashed past, cannons blazing. He couldn't keep this up forever. Fuel was running low, and luck wouldn't last. He needed an escape. Spotting an opening, he rolled inverted and dove, plunging toward the mountains. The saber was stable in a dive, but the risk was immense. Too hard, and the wings could shear off. The MiGs followed, but their formation was gone, strung out in a frantic chase. The Americans' earlier attack had sown just enough confusion. Leveling out at treetop height, he raced south, hugging the terrain. The MiGs, low on fuel and far from home, began to peel away. One by one, they gave up the chase. He crossed into friendly airspace, fuel nearly gone, body trembling with adrenaline. He had outflown and outsmarted all 7. He'd survived the deadliest sky on Earth. The legend was born. The pilot landed his battered saber, alive against all odds. His story, 1 man against 7 MiGs, became a quiet legend among his peers. It was proof that courage and quick thinking could turn the tide, even when victory meant simply surviving. This dogfight was more than a dramatic episode. It was a reminder of how close the world came to catastrophe. In MiG Alley, 2 superpowers clashed in secret, each encounter a potential spark for global war. The courage of individual pilots shaped history in ways few would ever know. These stories remind us that history is made by people, by their choices, their fear, and their will to survive. The lone pilot's fight is a testament to the razor's edge of the Cold War. Remembering these moments honors the human side of conflict. Against impossible odds, sometimes survival itself is the greatest victory.